a bevy of Bevins. I'm Mel Bevan, and thanks for joining us on this channel. Today I'm going to speak about schooling kids who have special needs or different learning abilities. So we have two of our children we currently school have on the autism spectrum, so they have high functioning autism, and we've got another one with chronic anxiety. And so all of them need slightly different things in order to make school work for them. In my previous video we talked about routine and how for us that's really important. We talked about that it helps those children who need that to know what's coming up and know what's expected of them. We try not to change the routine too often, but also being flexible to see that a day might be too hard and we cancel it. So there are a few things we do to help out, especially our oversensory children who either need extra sensory input or who need a bit of less sensory input. So some of the things we do is we have in our house little nooks around the place. So we have places they can go and be a bit calmer. We obviously have outdoor areas, and we encourage trampolining and running and riding bikes, just that vestibular system where there's a bit of balance and a bit of movement. It's really calming. We also have a swinging chair. It's kind of like a canvas little, I don't know what it's called, it's just a seat and it's in a canvas like thing, and the kids kind of snuggle into it and it swings, it moves, and it provides that movement, which is really important in kids with who have sensory issues, because that movement is a calming thing. But there are other things we like to do. One of the things we do have is for our children is noise cancelling headphones. Now we've invested in quite expensive ones because we wanted them to work for them. We didn't want it to be something they tried and then it didn't work and then them not being willing to try it again. So we invested in good quality ones. Sometimes the kids just use them powered on to cancel out background noise. Sometimes they'll play music through it and that kind of cuts out the noise. So one of the things we know with our sensory kids is that noise can be an overload for them. Too much noise, too much visual stimulation, too much can really affect how they focus. But also so can it be asking them to sit still. So some of them get into a place where they can't sit still. So often, or for our children, our mild ADHD accompanies autism. It can be part and part. And so sitting still is really hard. So we have lots of things to help them with that. So I'm just going to show you my little basket here. So we have a basket that we keep in our lounge area where we do our morning time. And so if the kids are feeling a bit like fidgety and things like that, our young ones colour, but that doesn't always work. So we have a lot of different things. And sensory input's particularly good, especially for also an anxious child. It brings her back into the moment. She can focus on what she's doing. All the thoughts of the worries and the anxiety she's having kind of diminish because she's focusing on what she's doing. So we have squeezy balls, and they're just fun. And lots of this is really cheap stuff from from Kmart or our local a dollar store. And this is actually an eye mask, but it has gel beads in it, and so it's kind of fun. And this is one of the kids' favourite things. Although the beads are dying because we've had it for a while. On water beads, you can buy water beads. Florists have them, craft shops have them, $2 shops I think have them, and you put them in water and they're great. And we actually have an ice cream container full of those as well, and that's a general outside thing, or in the bathroom. They currently live in the bathroom, and then the kids take them outside to play. But they're another good sensory thing. They wet them and they have different textures, and the kids just love them. So that's just a contained version of that. This is a little massage baller, and not because they necessarily like them on their back, but they do like to rub it on their hands or up and down their arms, and it just provides another thing for them to fidget with, but also a sensory input as well. So there you go. We have spiky balls, and it's another sensory input. Cush balls, just fun. These are, I don't even know what these are, I can't remember what they are, but they have wire in them, and my kids spend ages just winding them around, and sometimes it's that fiddling and that needing to move, and so that helps them. We have other things, like we've had cushions on our seats, and they're kind of balance cushions, and we got ours relatively cheaply. and you add them to your cheat, and the kids can move. We've done school on yoga balls, and we provides that movement reading on yoga balls as well. Just that them being able to move. We've got scooter boards, which are these little tiny square boards with caster wheels on them, like a computer chair, and they scoot around the kitchen floor, or they lie on them and they spin. Just that vestibular movement really creates a sense of calming for my kids, so we do a lot of that. This one is another ball-like thing. I believe it used to light up. I don't know if it does now, but what else do we have? Hacky balls, hacky sacks. We have lots of fidget things. They're not in my basket anymore, and they were, I tell you, they were about a day ago, but the kids have also got them out. So we have fidget spinners, we have fidget cubes, we have these, and it's just about doing other things. So that's some of the things we used. We also, a while back, we went to a little program about anxiety with one of my children, and some of the things we hadn't really thought about was, so we've got lots of touch and sound and sight type sensory things, but we weren't really doing smells, and that was something I was like, I don't know. But we went to this course, and smells were actually really calming for one of my children. They really loved the smells. They loved that it was just another sensory input for them. So I'll show you the cheap ones we have, and then I'll show you something else that we got that we love as well. So this is just called Centos, and it's Play-Doh, and it's scented Play-Doh. So this has dual benefits, and obviously that Play-Doh is a really great sensory tool. You can roll it, you can squish it, you can pound it if you're grumpy. There's a whole lot of things, but this one smells as well. This is meant to be blueberry. It's kind of smells a bit mean. I guess it's blueberry, but it's more like children's bubblegum smell. And we've got it 4 different flavours, so we have 4 kids who use it, and they all have a different flavour, a different colour Play-Doh. And so that's a really helpful thing. We do limit it where they have this, so they're not allowed this in the lounges, just because it is a nightmare cleaning Play-Doh off carpet, which I'm sure all of you are well aware of. So it stays in a schoolroom where we don't really care about the carpet, and then in the kitchen, dining room, that sort of thing. So that's one of our smelling ones. One of the other things we found, and there's actually 5 of them, but my children love them so much that has one in his bedroom, and then the other one is with someone else. So these are called apothecary, and they are little beads, and they smell, and they retain their smell, and they have a covering so they can't get lost or swallowed. And this one is, what is this? Energize, and it is it's a blend of cedarwood, eucalyptus, pine, and olivium. So it's and this one is recovery, which is rose, marjoram, olibanum, and black pepper. And then this is de-stress. We also have focus and sleep. Sleep is one of the ones that they love, but focus is the favourite. So one of the girls actually has sleep, and one of the boys, and they often smell it, and it's quite strong, but sometimes we often just leave them out as well. So instead of one kid holding it and kind of smelling it, we have it out, and it just you can smell it as a bit of an aroma. You can also get diffusers, which are great, but some of our kids find them quite strong. So that's something we don't tend to run, because different kids have different needs. So so these are kind of our sensory things, and they just allow our kids to have that input that they require. It also helps them to kind of tune out some of the other stuff, like when you're sitting and playing with a ball and you're bouncing it and you're playing it and you can feel it in your hands, you're not really thinking about what else is going on, and so that kind of helps as well. We also talked last week having my time timer, where we where it's the clock that times out, which is really helpful, and it's all these things to help them focus on the moment and to kind of just shut out all the other stuff that goes on, especially with kids with autism. Their brains fire all the time. They are collecting information all the time. It's information overload, sensory overload all the time, and so being able for them to focus on one thing or to distract from what they're listening to or hearing or seeing is really helpful. We also will play music a bit. That kind of helps as well. Calm music, sometimes loud music, and get up and dance. But yeah, we're quite aware of making sure it's calm and it's a place where everyone can work. One of the other things we do to encourage that, especially in our school days, we have separate places. As you can see, I'm currently in my schoolroom, and we have the ability for 2 or 3 to work in here at the moment. We're just waiting on some more desks. But then the boys' bedroom has their own desk. We have the kitchen table, and we have another lounge that has a table in it as well. So there's lots of spaces within our house for people to go and find a quiet spot. We find that if everyone is kind of all in one spot, there get to be a bit of elbow pushing, which turns to yelling, which turns to throwing things at people, and it can get out of control quickly. So often we can work really well together, but I can tell those days where things are getting a bit stressful, and so we just send people to different places, and that really helps for us. So having places for children to go without feeling overwhelmed is really important. One of the other things is keeping calm yourself, and I know that some days that's really, really hard, that actually everything is just getting a bit overwhelming and on top of you, and keeping calm is probably one of those harder things to do. So we talk to our children about keeping calm and how we keep calm, and so we try to implement that ourselves. We talk about breathing, we talk about, taking your breaths, going outside for some exercise, taking some space, writing it down, tensing all your muscles and relaxing them, that sort of thing. So in that note, one of the things, especially for our younger children, we encourage is bubble blowing. So bubble blowing is one of these things which helps kids calm down, because you have to breathe slowly to form the bubbles, and as you're doing it, you start to become distracted also by the bubbles. So if you've got a child who is overly anxious or angry, so often anger can be a display of anxiety for some children, or a display of overwhelmness. I remember a friend telling me it's easier to be mad than it is to be sad. So we use bubbles as a way of calming everybody down. Go outside and you take bubbles, and bubbles are really cheap. This cost me probably $1 or maybe 2 for $1, and they go outside. You can even make your own too. Glycerine and dishwashing liquid and a bit of water. You can make heaps of it. Glycerine from your local pharmacy if you need to buy it. And so bubbles are really cool. And then the other kids start to want to join in, and it becomes a bit more calm. We always like to do things to bring back unity. Often when kids are feeling overwhelmed, they lash out and they get cross, and that's fine, and that's how kids react to things. But we also want it to be that they can calm down and come back to being within the group and within us. So things that help us are good. The other thing we use is, I showed you our large time timer, but we also have timers. So this is a 5-minute timer, a 2-minute timer, and a 1-minute timer. So in some of our maths, they have quizzes and things, and it's 2 minutes and 1 minute in, or sometimes we might say, I want you to go and do this for 5 minutes, but it gives them that control, especially younger ones who can't read clocks and things like that. So instead of adding panic to them, they just take their timer away and they go and do it themselves, and they come back. So we love our little timers. There are some other things we do as well. We have some games to teach social skills, like card games asking different situations what you would do. We, like we've previously mentioned, we play games a lot, which is that good social interaction as well. So that's kind of what we do to kind of keep our school day running. Routine, helping their sensory input, calming spots around the house, teaching social skills and things when they're in a good place, and then probably the last thing we do, or keeping the house calm and quiet. But one of the last things we do is also realising when things are too much. And I mentioned this before, but I think it's really important, especially with kids on the spectrum, autism spectrum, or any behavioural stuff that's going on, actually acknowledging that they're struggling, and that one of the ways you can help them is to have some downtime. Minecraft in our house is our lifesaver. We've got one of my boy who is on the spectrum, loves it, he plays it, he reads books about it, he watches YouTube clips about it, and it really de-stresses him. It helps him to tune out everything else, and sometimes we all need a bit of downtime, and for him he needs extra downtime. So the other thing is pets can be really helpful. We know that petting the cat helps one of our kids, and horses help the others. So there are lots of different things that might help your children, but you need to kind of figure what that is. But I guess primarily it's, you're trying to get them in a place where they can focus and learn, because if they're stressed or overly anxious or worried or just everything's firing at once and they can't concentrate, then they can't school either. They can't learn in that state. And so keeping them into this calm state is where they do their learning. So I hope that's been a bit informative. If you have any questions, do ask them below. Subscribe and like, and you'll get more notifications when I post more videos. It was lovely catching up. See you again next time. Bye.